皆さん、おはようございます。お元気でしたか？はい、元気元気。Good morning, everyone. How are you doing? Welcome to my channel, Stacy Personally Gardening. Yes, it's the gardening one this morning, and it is January 29th on Monday morning here in Jamaica at 8:14 a.m. And I'm just going to give you an updated garden tour. So why don't you join me? If you missed the last garden tour that I did maybe December 21st or somewhere about, why don't you check it out? It's been over a month. Let's go. So we are starting at the nursery, and like I said, a lot of changes have taken place. Now you might be seeing a lot of green, but most of that are weeds. What happened? Well, this entire container of seedlings had turned over into my yard, and I tried to recover all the dirt, the potting soil that I could, and of course in so doing picked up quite a number of weeds along the way. But let me show you what are not weeds. These three that are standing tall here are watermelons from seeds that was planted by my little helper. Okay, moving on. Right here we have some callaloo, and a lot of cobweb is going on right here. This, I believe, might be a flower or it might be a weed because it does not look like anything else inside here. I had gone through the trouble of labeling a lot of things, but everything now is all mixed up, so I don't remember what this is. It might be a herb. It might be parsley, I think. Here we have marigold. I actually had two and I planted out one already because it had gotten big and it is struggling in the sun. Here we have some sweet peppers, and you can tell it has to be some kind of peppers because of all the white flies. The white flies. Beside them we have two okra plants, totally unbothered by white flies. Yes, so I'm going to have to incorporate some spraying soon. I did use some neem organic spray, but you have to be spraying it like every day for that to really make sense. Let's step over here. These are not new. They're pretty old actually. So old that they decided, hey, we're not being transplanted, so let's start bearing some soil right here. And this type is a hybrid of the red and white type. I did not choose it. I did not do it. That's just how it is happening, and I only know this when they are coming up. This one looks like it's going to be completely white. Right below here we have just some regular household onion, and I've put them in water so they can spring before planting them out into the dirt. This will also provide me with some, not onions, but scallion. All right, let's move on. So here is my very messy looking yard, but don't worry about it. Things are happening. Lots of changes have taken place. So let me start with what used to be the callaloo bed, which all of you would have been aware of. And there I go walking right into a spider web. All right, so here I had planted out some new callaloo since most of the old ones, like this one, I had gotten rid of. I'm about to get rid of that soon. All right, but here we have callaloo, beets, or beetroots if you prefer that. All experimenting because, yeah, I harvested one beet already, but it was really tiny. I didn't even get a video of that because it just sort of happened, you know. This is a string bean. Yes, I spoke about this in the last video because it was the only string bean here away from the rest of them, which I'll show you a little bit later on. Don't ask me what's happening here. Probably spider web. Spider webs are everywhere and in everything. All right, here's another beet. Yes, the caterpillars like to eat beetroot leaves as well. Here's another callaloo, and I have started to spray them with chemicals. Yes, believe it or not, I have started just to really get some headway and not feel so overwhelmed with the caterpillars. This is from one of the original sets of callaloo. You can see how thick that root is, but it's still giving me some nice leaves now that I have started spraying them. Otherwise this would have been all bundled up with caterpillars and everything. Now what is this right here? It's a callaloo where my basil used to be. Yes, these are my 2 basil plants which had suffered from some downy mildew, which is like a black mildew that was turning the leaves. Even though they could still be eaten, it was just becoming unsightly, and so I decided to harvest what I could and just get rid of the basil, because the truth is, as much as I love the smell of basil, I didn't really cook with it that much. So I still have some basil in my freezer. There are my green onions, or scallion, that I had cut from scallion that I bought at the market, and they have just been going. Them skinny, they are so slender, but they are still going. Right here on its very last, as evidenced by the missing leaves, is my okra plant. It is on the last, and that's why I have other okra plants in the nursery, because this is going to need to be replaced soon. I don't know how long, because I'm still getting some okras, but not as often as before. Like, I'm not coming out and picking okras every day anymore. All right, so before I go any further, let me come back here. So this area is the front section of the garden, and we have a row of just flowers. These flowers are just acting as a border. I'm not sure if this was in the last video at all. Acting as a border. Number of changes have taken place, but that Irish potato still remains. I had glimpsed a really small Irish potato, but since I don't know when it's going to be ready, I decided to just leave it. Just leave it, you know. I'm learning to be patient with the gardening process. Over there is a line of beets once again, and I have been harvesting some leaves, not too much, but as recommended to leave approximately 75% of the leaves on. And so that's what I have been doing. Let me move on to one of the newest additions here. These 2 boxes, if I want to call them mini raised beds, yes. And I decided to dedicate this one to what we call salad greens. Basically just leafy greens that can be eaten. Maybe this one is more obvious. It does look like lettuce. It's a mixture. The pack was a mixture of things, and I actually transplanted these in bundles, broke them up into 4 sets basically. Maybe over time I will try to loosen them, but for now I'm just trying to get them to set in place. So I know some spinach is in this mix, and I'm not sure what else is in this mix, but there we have them. It was quite a struggle to protect them because of the sun and the wind. It was very windy. Yes, you can see that bit of plastic there, and I had to bore holes in it. Very exciting learning stuff. You can see the grass that has been laid on top to try and keep the moisture in and offer some amount of protection to the plants as they're coming up. I actually want to get a lot more, but very specific grass type, so that I can cover over it without it damaging the crops or dropping seeds of weeds. But my yard actually does not have that type of grass anymore, as I had been clearing it quite a bit. Over here is an entire bed of peppers. Do you remember those hot peppers that were in the nursery? I finally just created a space for them thanks to a recommendation from my neighbor. I just created a whole thing. So all of these are hot peppers, which probably, if all goes well, I might just have to sell. because I ain't using so much hot pepper at all. All right, over here, everybody knows this row. It's not looking so Christmassy anymore. We are in January, the end of January, but I still do have sorrel. They are not actively sending up new blossoms. We still have a few, but not so active. And what I learned is that this was probably 3 months sorrel. In here, the seed is already dry. It's already dried. So I don't know what's supposed to happen with this, if it's going to just die. But from time to time, I do have these dead branches that I cut off. And when I want to make tea or smoothie, I do come and pick some of these. But right now, they're not in the best shape or position to be picked, so I don't even water it as much anymore. Right here we have my almond tree, which has been growing in leaps and bounds. Before I move on, right below here, no longer protected by the soil, I have beetroot plants. Yes, so I have beets planted everywhere, and it's a good thing because the size that I am getting are pretty small based on the one that I pulled up. So I have about 6 or 7. I am really happy that I planted a lot of beets all over the garden because I am still figuring out, how they actually grow underground and what's the best condition for them. So moving on from my almond, what used to be in this dirt spot here was the avocado or the pear tree, but it was just here today and gone tomorrow. What I mean, it was flourishing and looking so good if you check out the last video, and then a couple days later it was just suddenly drying up and dying. I didn't see any pests on it or anything, so I've lost that, and maybe it's a good thing because I'm not going to try and get back a pear tree, but maybe a coconut tree or a guava tree, who knows. Over there is still the compost heap, but I am allowing those 2 papaya trees to come up. From time to time there are other trees that come up because I did throw seeds, all sorts of seeds, almond seeds, sorrel seeds, everything is thrown in there as a part of the compost. So let's move on from there. Here you can see my pumpkin patch, but before the pumpkin patch is my little struggling small ackee tree. It is struggling, people. It is struggling. I don't know what else to do. I have this little container here to protect it from the sun because I think the time is so hot, even though it's January, but the plants are really being affected greatly. So this is so small compared to that ackee tree over there, which you cannot see really. Where is it? Right there. That one is so big you can see the soda bottle as reference. It is about 2 times the size of the soda bottle compared to this one here that came from the same pod. So yeah, I continue to watch it. There we have the fever grass continuing to grow. I'm considering rooting it up because I have cut more fever grass, and it's not something that people readily want, so like to give it away or something, and that's going to take a lot of time for me to be asking people who wants fever grass, I only have one string bean tree that survived out of the 3 that were here. The others just dried up, and I suppose it's also the heat. I have no idea. You can see there are now no cucumber plants at all, so my trellis actually hasn't been used as it was designed for at all. The pumpkin is continuing to grow and expand. Really loving how they are going. it was really windy the past couple of weeks, so they have been tossed, turned over, and not in the best of positions. Some of them, as you can see, this one here is all twirled over, and I tried to put it upright, but it has lost the uprightness and is just growing however, right? So yeah, I'm just going to allow the pumpkin. You can see flowers. Those are all male flowers, all males. Haven't noticed any females coming from this set of about 12 vines just yet. You can see the new addition, yeah, banana or planting, I don't know which is which, but we have 2 of them over there. Here's my Julie. It continues to grow steadily. I have reduced my watering by adding these bottles with 2020 fertilizer to their roots, so I can just focus on doing other things, because gardening takes a whole heap of work, people, a whole heap of work. So there is that. Here is the ackee tree, as I mentioned, quite big, lots of new leaves, just absolutely thriving compared to the smaller one over there, but I'm not complaining. Here's another smaller tree. Don't ask me what it is, I don't have a clue. Here we have our beautiful papaya trees. Don't know what was going on, but this one, which started blossoming first, did not develop any papaya from the blossoms, not a one. They all just kind of dried up. I don't know if they weren't pollinated, or I don't know what it is. There's a flower now coming up right here, and I hope it will be pollinated. Come to the next door neighbor who has gotten 3 papayas successfully pollinated. There we go. Awesome, looking beautiful. Don't ask me how long they will take. I am just leaving them to do their thing. Now, I don't know what has happened to cause this papaya tree to be so stunted. I don't know if it has lost the fight for space. I'm not sure, because they are almost equally spaced down the bottom, so I don't know why it, I have no idea. I don't know if it's not getting enough sun or what, but it's not a complaint really, because it helps the process. Oh, this actually has 4 papayas. Oh, didn't see that. Right, so no blossoms yet, but it's doing its thing. Okay, here is my Artenique orange. You know, they are still there. The aloe vera has a lot of babies going on. Here we have another papaya tree starting to blossom. All of them have started to blossom, so I just pray for fruit from all of them. And here is the last pumpkin vine from the original pumpkins from last year. I kept this vine because I insisted I must get a pumpkin from it, and it has not disappointed. Here is a pumpkin, one big ever pumpkin, if I can say that, right? It probably is the biggest from all the others. It is probably the biggest, and I'm just leaving it. It's starting to change color a little bit, but look at how beautiful these leaves are. Yes, I had to spray the leaves because I was not about to allow the caterpillars to devastate this pumpkin. But I've also learned that caterpillars have their seasons just like any other plant, and well, I can't say other animals, but they have their seasons. So now I don't see that many caterpillars at all. Here we have another 2 banana planting combo, or I don't know which is which. I got them recently, probably like a week and a half ago, so I just hope they will catch. These don't have the bottles at their roots. I need to sort that out soon to encourage them I also don't even know how much water they should be getting. Yeah, I'm just figuring things out as I go along. Wow, can you see all the grassiness in my yard? But don't worry, places that I need to walk are clear. Here we go with my apple tree. Steadily coming on, continuing to push out new leaves. Yes, I don't have to worry about it. Yes. Look at my Jew plum. I'm so proud of this Jew plum tree. Why? Because I grew it from seed. From seed, from seed. I could really just, with patience, grow everything from seed, you know. But when you're not sure of, like, you don't want something too big, like the mango tree, or you don't want to take too long, so you buy those, to speed up the process from 5 years to 3 years, as it were. All right, and everybody remembers this little patch, and I should not be right there because I'm blocking it. This patch here that had a mixture of things continuing to flourish and produce. Right here we have callaloo, which is from the second generation of callaloo. You can see that from the root how thick it is. Yes, second generation of callaloo. I think this one too, yeah, pretty thick stump there. Now this is a tomato plant that I had moved from over the other big tomato from over there, and guess what, it has tomato on it already. I didn't even realize it has tomatoes on it. There we go. This is my umbrella support stick. Yeah, so we still have our okra there. This row is still a row of peppers. Don't know what's going on, but the peppers basically shed all the bottom leaves, I think because of the downy mildew, and they started regrowing fresh leaves. So you can see the top there, somewhat of a middle, and then fresh leaves down the bottom. This is still the garlic. I have no idea what's going on, none whatsoever, with the garlic, so I probably should try and dig up something. Here is the sweet pepper, or the green peppers, or the bell peppers. Now we have blossoms again, lots and lots of blossoms. I'm just gonna leave it. I try not to water them too much, but I have learned now that blossom end rot, which I'm gonna show you on my tomato plant, can affect any crop. It can affect any crop, and it can be caused from not enough calcium in the soil, or it can be caused from inconsistent watering. So people, I am really just trying to figure this thing out. So here we have beets. These were some of the original beets planted, and you can see there that beet is probably ready, because it has been pushing out of the soil, and every time it did that, I tried to cover it over with soil, but I don't see it getting any bigger. The recommendation was for a golf size. This is not golf size, as you can see from my finger. I'm trying not to let the shadow. Yeah, it's just about an inch wide, so not very big at all. But I've been enjoying the leaves, and no, it's not because I've been enjoying the leaves why they are small. Here is my arugula, pretty old. No, it has developed spikes, which are protective mechanisms against pests. I still use it, but now it's very peppery, because when it's young, it's much more delicious to me, right? So lots of more beets. It's another sweet pepper here. That's the row of peppers, and as I said before, the same thing happened here. All the downy mildew leaves fell off, and fresh new leaves started to grow. So I am just watching things. This is from the same salad mix. My mom said it might be pak choy, but I don't know, because maybe because it's younger, when I eat it raw, it doesn't taste like pak choy. It's actually very pleasant to eat, unlike pak choy, which I normally have to cook because of the taste. Here's another beet. You see that coming up? That is even smaller than 1 inch across. So yeah, the diameter is much smaller than the other one, but I don't think they're gonna get any bigger. Yeah, we actually have pepper, hot pepper. This is hot pepper. Lots of, oh, and I think I just lost a blossom. You can see the hot pepper. There are quite a number on it actually, and the very first one, which I decided to just leave, it had just fallen off. This is the very first hot pepper from the same tree, and it had just fallen off. I had noticed, like, I don't know if you can see it, but I can see, like, right in the joints here, the joint areas, it just started to get dark, and I just figured that something was wrong. You know, something was wrong with the plant. And this one, lots of white flies, lots and lots of white flies. And you know, it being right beside the tomato plant, they have just been exchanging white flies, unfortunately. Here is one of the more recent callaloo plants. Not too recent, because I have eaten from it before, and we can see the caterpillars are getting busy again. Yes, okay, there, I just got one. Yes, yes, yes. All right, now moving on to the, what can I say, the star, or the star, yes, the star of this little garden patch here, and it is the tomato plant. All the leaves that you saw in the previous video have been significantly reduced because of the nature of tomatoes. They need the sunlight to actually change color, and they are finally starting to change color. Boy, I want to say it has been months, but I don't even know. But now you can finally start to see some color. These were the first set, and finally. But what I have also been experiencing is the blossom end rot, as I mentioned before, and it's not a fungus or a disease, but a physiological response or reaction of the plant to either the inconsistent watering or a lack of calcium in the soil. Research is leaning more towards inconsistent watering, and boy, can I tell you, I kind of went a little bit sudden on it when I thought it was getting too much water, and I was noticing the molded mildew in the entire patch. I kind of stopped watering as often, so I don't know if that is what has caused it, but I have actually lost a lot of tomato plants already. See, and I think I took some pictures of some before. It affects big and small, because this was not like this before, but it developed it after being big, right? So it's something that I am trying to figure out, and I hope that nothing else gets to be like that. Yes, these things are easy to come off, so I'm not trying to move them. But yeah, I've been struggling with white flies. I've cut off a lot of leaves as a result of white flies, but also to allow more air to pass through and for the sunshine to reach some of the other tomato plants. See, I noticed this recently. This is at the top, and I cannot say I know what it is. I really can't say what is happening right at the top of the plant here. It's not at the bottom, it's at the top. So I am just watching. Look at this as well. You can't see. Try not to break it off, but I guess if it does break off, that's fine. I don't know what's going on with this at all. and you can see more blossom end rot happening here. I'm tempted to just cut off this entire section, here, and just allow these tomato plants to get the nutrients. Right, wow, this video is much longer than I had anticipated, but let me step back so you can see the garden. Looking on from here, it doesn't look like much is happening, but a lot is happening. I still have my 4 sorrel plants right in the middle area lining there, and I'm planning on adding at least 4 more, since the plants are already here, have already started to produce fruit. I think I might as well enjoy their fruit and give them the space that they need to grow. I forgot to mention that I finally cleared this area and added these border flowers to match that section, so you can see how big and beautiful those are. Well, these are really small because I transplanted them from over there. They are causing a bit of an issue when I'm watering. The hose tends to affect this one, so I might have to put some kind of board or stones that can prevent the hose from affecting these plants. Still figuring it out. Right here should be like a walkway area, so I am working on all of those things at the same time. Let us quickly go to my bedroom gardens. So I just did a quick turn around. You can see I cleared a path here, even though the border for my house is a few meters over. All right, so this is the French thyme, completely taking over the space. It needs to be pruned. I just haven't gotten to it yet because I can't use it as fast as it is growing. This is my coriander, which is now seeding, absolutely seeding, even though I don't need any seeds, but I don't use it as quickly either. But it's just beautiful to look at anyway. And you can see the crown of thorns and the snake plant and just more crown of thorns. Let's quickly jump around to the front. I will not leave them out. There are my 2 aloe plants. They are looking beautiful and healthy. And new development here, you can see, let me come this way, 1 2 3 4 crown of thorn plants were placed here, and these will be bordering my rose plant that's going to go right there. So if you want to bless me with a rose plant, hybrid rose plant, preferably coral in color, I'd really appreciate it. Moving on to the front. Okay, and here's my front window garden. It needs some pruning, but there's my marigold taking away all the attention from everything and everyone else. But it has really just been a joy to look through my bedroom window and see this plant. Beside it here, we have the echinacea. This one has put out new leaves, while its counterpart on the other side has lost all its leaves because of the heavy wind that we had. This is a crown of thorns, as you can see, and it's supposed to be moved, but I'm really wondering if I should leave it, you know. Crown of thorns usually want more of a rocky area, even though below here is a lot of marlstone. I actually added soil to this to allow the other flowering plants to be able to survive here. But maybe I can consider leaving it, but this actually gets very fluffy as well, so ideally I don't want it there. But I haven't decided where I'm moving it to as I move the others. Here we have my lavender. Oh boy, this one lost some leaves. It was really struggling with the heat, struggling with the wind, you know. And I wondered if I had prematurely moved them from their container that they had been in, because they take about 3 years to grow. These are going to be purple flowers, but they take 3 years to grow. So I wondered if I should have kept them in their containers. Here is a marigold that I'm trying to protect, right? I had moved it from the container, from the nursery, and it has just been struggling with the heat, struggling with the wind, and that is why I have used this to kind of cover it to help protect it. This is the same crown of thorns. It should also be pink in color. And here is the echinacea that lost all its leaves, but the stem is very, very sturdy. I was tempted to dig it out, but I'm going to leave it, let them figure it out. Yes, and I'm probably going to try and plant some more echinacea from seeds to start thinking about what to do with the very front of the yard. And so that is my garden tour. Should I end with the very dry areas of my house? Probably not. Let's end it right here. That was an exceptionally long garden tour. What did I expect with all the new developments that took place in the garden? But I'm going to have to try and work on how long it is. But thank you so much for sticking around and checking out this updated garden tour on January 29th, 2024. God bless you. Like, share, and subscribe. Put a comment below this. Check out the description.